Welcome. My name is Rama Siva, and I'm a person who used to stutter with shame, embarrassment, and pessimism. And how did I get out of it? Well, in this video, I'll share a bit more about my story. So in my last video, I talked about a friend of mine who sent me a message saying that he isn't able to speak with the freedom that he does when he speaks to other people who stutter. So why is that? Why can one speak to people who stutter with a complete sense of freedom of expression, using whatever words, without any of the choppiness, without any of the hesitancy, repetitions of sounds, words, syllables, etc., without any blocking? Why is it? So I was analyzing that, and the reason is because we feel totally comfortable speaking with those bunch of people. A lot of people who have contacted me say that they don't have time to do the breathing, they don't have time to do contacts, they don't have time to do anything, they just have time to stutter. That's the same with me. When I used to work in an office environment, I didn't have time to do anything myself. I just went rushing off to work, trying to do breathing in the shower, trying to do breathing on the train, trying to do breathing on the tube, and getting all the infections that one gets on public transport. And I just didn't actually make any real progress in terms of my stuttering. So in terms of the time, if you don't make time for yourself, no one else will make time for you. If you don't make time to do the breathing exercises for a period of time, I don't do any breathing exercises. I haven't done any breathing exercises for over 10 years. I do meditation sometimes. Now I do yoga every day. But if you don't make time for yourself, your stutter will win. So how do you make time for yourself? How do you find time for yourself? It's simple. Go to bed an hour earlier, wake up half an hour earlier, do the breathing exercises, do the stutter workout, and get primed for the day ahead. Through the power of visualization, you can practice the upcoming meetings in the mind, and you will see in your reality you're stuttering with power like a lion. So in terms of contacts, it's all fine and well to do contacts when you're first starting out working on your stutter. But there comes a point when you have to realize that everyone you meet has to be a contact. Everyone you speak to has to be a contact. Which means you start to play the game. The game is in your mind. Most of you guys don't stutter when you're by yourself. Most of you guys and girls stutter very much less when you're by yourself. The occasional one or two or three who contact me saying that, "Hey Rama, I stutter all the time." And I spoke to one such guy. He didn't stutter with me at all. Now, in his mind, he thinks he's a stutterer. And you're right, he will be a stutterer for the rest of his life. And to be honest, if you're in your 60s or 70s, just forget about stuttering and live your life. If you're in your 30s, 40s, and are struggling, then contact me and I can inspire and motivate you. I can inspire and motivate you. I can inspire and motivate you out of your stuttering mind. Now, as you realized, or you just saw, I stumbled. Exactly, I stumbled. I don't care. Completely, I don't care. So when you're doing contacts, when you're first starting out on any program, it's great. It's a great start because for many, many years you have probably avoided speaking, avoided saying words, but you find that you do contacts and you actually don't have any problems doing contacts with those people who you will never meet again, unless they look like Jennifer Lopez or Emily Blunt, in which you will definitely want to get their phone number and hopefully meet them again. Well, that never happened to me anyway. So what you need to do is to make contacts in the real world, meaning with your boss, with your colleagues. You practice speaking like a lion. I wonder if that was J-Lo. You practice speaking like a lion with everyone, and the more you practice, the more it becomes second nature. In my previous video, I talked about driving. Driving and stuttering have a lot more in common than people think. It takes so much effort for some people to learn to drive. You've got to coordinate your legs, your hands, your eyes, everything. You've got to focus with such determination to learn to drive. It's the same type of things you need to do to get out of stuttering. If you can speak perfectly well with your partner, actually not with your partner, if you can speak perfectly well when you're by yourself, if you can speak perfectly well with people who stutter, then what is stopping you from speaking perfectly well with the same level of composure, eloquence with every single human being? Yep, it's right. It's the thing in between the 2 ears. It's your mind, it's your head that is causing you the discomfort when you're facing people who you think will judge you. In my previous video, I told you to analyze yourself as to what you did with those people who stutter, with whom you no longer stutter with. So after you analyzed it, you need to put it into practice, what you did. And the only way that you can do it is to actually do it in real life. However, you can use the power of your mind, visualization, by picturing the events in your mind's eye. So you can use the power of your mind and really work on your stutter in your mind. And how do you do that? You visualize yourself, speaking the way that you want to, using whatever techniques you feel comfortable with, and you practice it repeatedly in your mind. There was an experiment done by an Australian psychologist by the name of Alan Richardson. He had a group of men playing basketball, professional players playing basketball, and he divided them into 3 groups. The first group practiced throwing free throws. The second group just practiced in their mind, visualizing themselves. And the third group did nothing. After 2 weeks, the first group of players improved by 25%. The second group, who practiced in their mind, improved by 24%. And the third group, which did nothing and just went on to Bondi Beach, didn't do well at all. So the difference was only 1% between actually practicing the free throws and practicing the mind. So the power of the mind is very, very powerful. So you can start to use the power of your mind to get ready to speak the way you want to. So the difference in my life was very profound. I could speak to anyone on that program at any time in my worst stuttering episodes and speak perfectly well. But yet, when I wanted to speak to someone who I wanted to impress, the stuttering would pop out and erupt like a volcano with lava flowing down my entire body. The larva will be full of shame, embarrassment, pessimism. So quite early on, I realized that I could speak to people who stuttered without any issues, without a single issue. And I struggled for so long trying to decode the mystery. And in the end, I gave up. So I left and I led my own life, stuttering. But I adopted a mentality of non-avoidance, which meant I went to Spain, I went to learn Spanish, I went traveling, and I went to pubs, places, and spoke. I may have felt uncomfortable, and I did, but I did anyway. And in the process, the fears of stuttering, stumbling went away. Now, in my journey, I was practicing Spanish with Spanish speakers, and I was speaking English with those Spanish speakers. So my environment was one that was supportive. So these people didn't speak English very well, so they asked me to speak much slower. So I did, and that really helped me. And if they didn't understand something, they would ask me to repeat it. And in my mind, the problem was with them. They didn't understand me, not that I stuttered. So all these positive experiences reinforced the belief in myself that I could speak. However, when I went to write my first book about 5 years ago, I started to interview English speakers. And I was particularly nervous. I stumbled, but I didn't blog or I didn't stutter per se. I was hesitant. Then I went on to BBC Radio. Now, going on to radio was a watershed moment. The reason was I went on to radio and I decided that I would speak using the ta techniques that I share on my channel for free. The techniques may be for free, but they are worth millions. They're priceless. Because through using these techniques, it's very simple. Through using these techniques, you can become free, just like me. If you can adopt the mentality of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Bruce Willis, then you will take no prisoners. You will get rid of the stuttering monkey off your back. Bah, bah, bah. Because if you decide to speak like this with every single person, you will see that you no longer are concerned about the opinions of other people, which are none of your business anyway. If you do this for a period of time, you will see that your confidence goes to a point where it cannot go back. You cannot return back to your stuttering self because you have changed your identity from a person who was trying to hide the stutter to a person who is proud of stuttering like a lion. You can either be a mouse or a lion. You cannot be both. If you try and be both, the mouse will win. I tried it. From my experience, I used to go to these courses, refreshers, every 3 months, and I used to come back from a course, refresher, feeling really confident, having done the contacts with the people in the streets of whichever town in the UK. But when I went back to my workplace, my home life, the stuttering was part of my identity. And I was not comfortable using the techniques where it really mattered. Where it really mattered was with people who I knew, with people who I wanted to impress, with nice looking ladies who I wanted to date. I just couldn't because I was ashamed of the stuttering. The moment I embarked on my journey of travel with the intention of meeting as many people, talking to as many people, stuttering outgrew me. Or rather, I outgrew the stuttering. Stuttering was no longer part of me. It no longer served me. Stuttering is a mentality where I used to avoid situations that made me uncomfortable. But if I chose to, sir, speak like this, speak with power, looking someone directly in the eye, smiling, and knowing that I can choose to speak the way that I want to speak, I realized that stuttering no longer controlled me. And if I stumble or if I mispronounced a word, I would just carry on. I wouldn't cancel any bad situations or words, because the more focus I put on canceling, the more focus I put on perfect fluent speech, the more I would worry myself into stuttering more. So basically, I stopped canceling. I stopped wanting perfection. If I stumble, if I mispronounced a word, I would just carry on. So, be proud, carry on, sir, stumbling like a lion. And if you stumble, just smile and let it go. No one's speech is perfect, not even mine. And I'm the guru of stuttering mind. And I'm telling you, I stumble, but I don't give a monkey's about what anyone thinks. I hope this video has been of use. If it has, please remember to click like, please do comment, and please share with your friends who stutter, who are struggling in the real world. Have a great day and see you on another video very, very soon.